Hey everybody, this week we're taking on the second major ethical theory that we're going to be doing. So utilitarianism is the first big one. Deontology, which we're doing now, is the second. I've got a couple little things I'm going to throw at you in a couple weeks just to round out the pack. But these are the two big ones. So deontology comes from the Greek deon, which means duty. Now this is where a lot of folks get confused. Duty does not ever mean obedience. It does not mean obedience. What it means is we have a duty to treat each other in a particular way. Immanuel Kant, major philosopher, calls it a categorical imperative, which means absolutely have to. He says we absolutely have to treat each other as if we were like ourselves, as if we were human beings with basic human rights. Golden rule. It's a fancy name for the golden rule. So the notion in deontology is we have rights. And those cannot be taken away from us because they're part of us as people. So this comes out in practice very differently from applying utilitarianism. Because utilitarianism basically says, screw the minority, right? Whoever has the most net happiness points wins. That's what they get. You get your way if you're the greater good. Deontology says, no way. Everybody, even if they're in the minority on a particular issue, has basic human rights that need to be respected no matter what. This is obviously the perspective taken in law in the United States. I'm a lawyer, or was trained as a lawyer, practiced for 10 years. This is the view that I hold pretty strongly, much more than utilitarianism. So that's the core of it, right there. The book is fantastic on it. Chapter 6 of S reinforces Manjikian. So please look at both of those together to get a handle on this. But that's the basic concept. Now, we've got two different kinds of rights theories. First one is act and the other is rule. So if you're following along the slides, Ethical Models Tool, slide called Useful. When we were talking about utilitarianism, we said there's a difference between act and rule utilitarianism. That act utilitarianism runs the numbers every single time an issue comes up, which by the standards we set out in the first week, bad theory, because it doesn't save us time. Rule utilitarianism runs the numbers on a rule. So, like, always study rather than be partying with your friends. And if that's the rule where the numbers work out the best, you apply that rule all the time. Deontology, same thing, act and rule. Does this action reflect people's basic innate rights, or does it not? Or does the rule do so? So this is how we evaluate laws. Does this law recognize and take into account the fundamental rights of everybody, even if they're a minority? If it does, it's a good law. If it doesn't, it's discriminatory. It's a bad law. All right. The next slide, which talks about consequences, duty, and rights, very useful. Look at that. The advantages and disadvantages in particular. I want you to be able to apply those on an essay question. So please look at the other video I'm posting today on how to do an exam for this class. That's the kind of analysis I want you to apply. Advantages and disadvantages of a particular theory. Rights-based theories. Okay, so there's two ways of looking at rights. One is the US way, the other is more common in Europe. The US way looks at negative rights. We've got the right not to be bothered. And that's a big part of the rights in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, is we have the right for the government not to interfere with how we practice religion. We've got the right not to have guns taken away by the state. We've got the right to not have the government tell us we can't speak freely. Negative rights. Rights that we have, let's say, you can't do a thing to me, or you can't take a thing from me. Those are negative rights. Those are the rights the U.S. system is based on. The other approach to rights is more European, also socialist. There's a connection there. They're positive rights that say we all have the rights to things. We all have the rights to physical safety. We all have the rights to an education that lets us participate in society. We all have the rights to medical care. Obviously, a very different approach, because that means somebody's got to give you something. So when you're looking at rights, be very careful whether you're looking at something that is innate in you, that you have a right not to have taken from you, or something that you should have available to you. Something like the right to vote kind of splits the difference because it's not something I have walking around on the street. You know, I need an election to have a right to vote, and the government creates elections, so in a way they're giving me a thing, and the right to vote might be more like a right to an education. But work through that carefully, because I guarantee you at some point it's going to come up. And that's basically it. It seems really simple, but I really want you to dig into deontology. I really want you to understand rights-based systems. And please, please, by all that's holy, do not say that since deontology means duty, it means you have to obey. There are 2 or 3 students every year that do that, and I come down on them because it is perfectly wrong. So don't do that. Make this a perfect year. Okay, thanks a lot. Good luck on your exams, and please be in touch if you've got any questions. Thank you.